My name is Adam Hay. My candidate number is 0224, and I will be presenting an economic solution to fentanyl-related deaths. For some context, fentanyl is an FDA-approved synthetic drug that is used as an anesthetic and is applied in hospitals all across the globe. Fentanyl is over 50 times more powerful than heroin and 100 times more powerful than morphine as an anesthetic. In the state of North Carolina, there's been a significant increase in the number of fentanyl-related deaths and overdoses in the past 5 years. 22% overall, according to the NCDHHS, North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, which this graph was taken from. From their site, it is stated that 4,000 people have lost their lives due to overdose in the year 2021 in North Carolina, with more than 106,000 dying overall in the U.S. in 2021. From a local perspective, in Iredell County, there's been over 10 recorded self-inflicted opioid deaths in the past 9 years. Looking at the visual, these deaths started being mapped consistently in 2015. A WCNC article from December 11th, 2023, reported that the Iredell County Sheriff Department seized over 120 pounds of fentanyl. 120 pounds of fentanyl is enough fentanyl to murder every single person in North Carolina 2 times over. From a national perspective, in the US, the top causes of death by accident were broken up by the CDC using their Wonder data into 4 separate categories. Accidents consisted of unintentional drug overdoses, motor vehicle incidents, and other unintentional drug overdoses, as well as other accidents. Based on the data, the number 1 cause of death in the United States based on accidents was unintentional drug overdoses by synthetic opioids, primarily fentanyl. As shown on the graph, other unintentional drug overdoses involving synthetic opioids clearly outshines all of the other causes of death between the ages of 18 and 45 in 2021 over all of the other accidents. Based on the data, the number 1 cause of death in the ages between 18 and 45 was unintentional drug deaths via synthetic opioids, highlighting the data as primarily fentanyl. In total, roughly 42,000 people died in the region that the CDC took the study, and at the time, which is roughly 1,500 deaths per week. Moving on. For the production of fentanyl, most of the sources can be traced back to outside the US borders. Unfortunately, fentanyl supplies are largely produced in countries such as China and Mexico, and are smuggled over the US border. Even after China outlawed the use and production of all fentanyl variants in China in 2019, China is still the leading manufacturer of fentanyl and what are known as the production resources or precursor chemicals. After the precursor chemicals are created, they're shipped to Mexico and refined into the synthetic opioid fentanyl. The produced fentanyl then gets sold by cartels and smuggled over the US border. The 2 cartels mainly responsible for selling and moving fentanyl are the Jalisco New Generation Cartel and the Sinaloa Cartel, who mostly depend on American citizens to move their product over the border. Between the years 2017 and 2021, 86% of all smugglers of fentanyl were American citizens. Usually, the cartels use American citizens because it's easy for them to move across the border because they have all their documentation, as opposed to using illegal immigrants because it's harder for them to get across the border without getting caught. From a global perspective, even after 2019 prohibition of all fentanyl variants in China, there is still a significant problem in their country. Looking at the graph, even though there is a significantly outlying number of deaths in America, there is still, in highly populated countries, extremely significant numbers of deaths in countries such as Russia, China, India, and Australia. These circles represent the number of fentanyl deaths per country in countries such as Europe, or in European countries even still, there's a significant number of deaths in such a small condensed region, which shows the global scale of the problem. Looking at the second graph, on data on selected drugs, deaths after being collected by the Council of Foreign Relations, there shows a 700% increase from 2000 to 2020 in synthetic opioid deaths, which are consisted of, again, primarily fentanyl. These graphs were collected by the Council of Foreign Relations, and the information shows a mirror to exactly what other countries look like, not just the US, but across the globe, and highlights and demonstrates the necessity for a solution. For my solution, I choose one of two options. Economically, there's a number of possibilities. The two I would like to highlight are, number one, tax subsidies for companies such as Emergent, which produces naloxone, which is a life-saving drug that counteracts the effects of fentanyl overdose. Emergent produces what's known as Narcan, a nasal spray that can be used and put in the nose of the victim, sprayed, and begins to counteract the effects of fentanyl overdose. Subsidies such as these or cuts will lessen the spending costs for these companies, allowing for more willing and government-backed production of these life-saving drugs. My second solution is improving police funding and the implementation of police investigation funds for anti-fentanyl police enforcement. This can be done through a donation-based campaign and improved police timing for better stoppage and prevention of trafficking through campaigns for police mobility and response time, as well as the improvement of investigative abilities by increasing the amount of money that detectives have access to ease the process in which fentanyl trafficking can be prevented. And that is my presentation.